look like I have been hit by a bus. Today is New Year's Eve and my boyfriend has COVID for the first time since this pandemic started. I think he got it from his coworker because she tested positive the same day as him and she was sick all week at work. I'm like, do you know how easy it is to A, call out of work, B, wear your mask in the office if you have COVID symptoms and you don't know if it's COVID yet, you just think it's like a cold. Like, so I have beef with her right now. We're supposed to be in New York and instead we are here in isolation. Very sad, but alas, we will get our asses out to New York in the next few months. That's like, I'm putting it in my New Year's resolutions to visit them in New York, okay? Period. So instead, I have all the time in the world. Instead of recording a new vlog in New York, I am going to reflect back on my travels this year because low-key, I was a busy little girl this year. I prioritized bopping around the US and I'm very proud of myself for doing that because solo travel can be intimidating and going with your friends can be intimidating. And just doing the damn thing, like taking days off of work and actually going somewhere, it's scary because you're like, ooh. I'm going to rank all the trips that I went on this year. We're gonna take it back in time. So I'm gonna rank each individual trip on a scale of 1 to 10. I have my laptop here because I have the memory of a fruit fly. So we are starting off strong with Hudson, New Hampshire. This place was so quaint, adorable, chic. Just so cute. It was upstate and I stayed in an Airbnb with 3 girlfriends and we made breakfast together and we had a grand old time. We walked around their downtown area and we went sledding, which was so funny because we're a bunch of 20-something-year-old women and we went on this like ski slope that was like the opposite of the skiing was the sledding, and we were there with bunch of little kiddos tearing it up. They were flying, like they were going with it, okay? The views here were beautiful. We went in February, I believe, and the views were immaculate of the gorgeous scenery. We visited this little castle and yeah, it was a lot of fun. Drive was not bad at all, so that was probably an 8 out of 10 because I am not a road trip girly. I'm not huge on the cold weather, but for that trip it was good. Overall, I had a lot of fun. Definitely a good start to the year. Round 2. So I did a little day trip in between this, but I'm only gonna do my overnight trips because I've done a handful of day trips as well. But for overnight trips, we went camping up in Hiram, Maine. What a trip. What a funny freaking time. So I went with the group of Mikes. My boyfriend and his friend group call themselves the Mikes. And there's like 100 of them. I swear to God, they just keep growing by the day. There was, I want to say 10 or 12 of us. We went up camping on my Nana's piece of land that she gave to my dad and a couple of my cousins. So it's ours inherited now. It's like a tiny little plot of camping land. We set up our hammocks, we set up our tents. There was an outhouse. God bless that outhouse. It's like a running fucking joke about that outhouse because what a time. Oh god. The drive, not bad at all. I drove me, Travis, Taylor, and Sean up, which was hysterical because we all overpacked. We were literally going for 2 nights and we had way too much food and beverages and all of that. So we got there and we were like, it's a fucking feast. We literally had to leave so much stuff behind. It was really depressing. But we made it up. We made it up in, I want to say, like sub 3 hours, which isn't bad from, I think we're coming from like north of Boston to the boonies of Maine. The vibes, 12 out of 10. We had so much fucking fun. We were just straight chilling. Like, these pictures are so funny of us like sitting around the campground. Travis and Sean fished from literally like the morning they woke up until sunset. And I finally was like, can we go on a walk? Like, I'm getting a little bored here. The weather, perfect. Really 10 out of 10. This was such a fun trip. Give 9.5 out of 10. Maybe even 10 out of 10. I had so much fun. Everyone had so much fun, which was so nice because I've never used this land before. Maybe when I was a kid, but it was just really nice. It was a lot of fun. Moving right along, we went camping back-to-back weekends, bitch. what world am I in? I really hope I'm remembering the name. I believe we went to Newfound Lake in New Hampshire the following weekend. It was 4th of July weekend. We ended up driving home at literally like the crack of dawn, like the sun rose, and we were out of there on the 4th of July because I was like, fuck this traffic, fuck this holiday. I want my bed. I need like a reset day before we go to work tomorrow. Okay, we had so much fun. We went to these like covered rocks. The drive up was quick and easy. Me and Travis drove up together. There was our D&D campaign minus Lucas. We missed you, babes. And we went swimming. We had some grand old times on the rocks. We kind of like hiked around a little bit. It wasn't like a hike, but we wandered around the woods vibes. And then we went to the beach area, which was hysterical because it was the lake and everyone was swimming in it. It was just a funny time. It was with all these boat docks, with all these families. It's just really funny. We went to our friend Kaylee's parents and like grandparents' lot up there. It's a lot of fun. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. Moving right along, we took a quick hiatus from August to September. One of those long weekends in September, the first one, we had a 3-day weekend. So me and Travis hit the road and we went north and we went to Vermont for 2 nights. That was hysterical. We had so much fun. We went to this tiny little Airbnb. It was a lot of cute ass vibes there. We were maybe 5 minutes from downtown Burlington, which was gorgeous. Gorgeous drawn. Such good timing, such good parking. The Airbnb was adorable, besides the fact that it smelled like cat pee. We were a little scared getting there at like 10 p.m. We drove up. I was planning on driving one way, he was going to drive the other way, and then we kind of split it up again, and I drove the first 3 hours, and then we pulled over and got some snacks, and I was like, I'm gonna fall asleep at the wheel. We drove the last like 45 minutes. We got there, went to bed, woke up, we went kayaking on Lake Champlain, which we were very proud of ourselves for doing because it was the craziest current I've ever had, and I've kayaked the Charles fucking River. That light work compared to Lake Champlain. Okay, we went off the boating dock, like there's literally like big ass boats passing us and we're like, hi. Oh my god, the views fucking incredible. I'm waiting to get back pictures from Travis's little film camera, like the instant camera. I think it's waterproof, so we brought it on the water compared to my big old chunky camera because I was not risking that. A lot of fun. It was very funny. We wandered downtown, we got day drunk, like we had the best fucking nachos, bro. They're like breakfast nachos. I think about them often. That trip was I'm gonna give it a 9.5 out of 10. It slapped. The only struggle was the smelly Airbnb. The host was there, straight vibing the whole time. Just loved asking us questions. Was very confused by us. It's fine. Other than that, grand. The food, the views, the weather. Period, bitch. Bing bada bing bada boom. I had the travel bug, clearly. And literally a week after this, I went to Florida, bitch. My fucking bestie Morgan moved to Florida in the pandemic and literally broke all of our hearts into little baby pieces moving to Florida. So naturally we had to go visit, even though we've been trying to visit for the past 2 years. Money, time, the struggle, okay? So we finally got the girlies together. Literally these 3 girls I've been friends with since elementary school. Elementary school. Yup, some of y'all cannot process that. Some of y'all could never. Anyways, I went with my fucking girls to Florida. We went for 2 nights. We stayed in a nice little hotel in Boca Raton. Bitch, this was the best trip. I could cry. I could literally cry. The weather, fucking perfect, other than when we landed. And when we were driving to Morgan's apartment to grab some stuff, it was downpouring. And we were like, well, check-in's at 3. It's 1. It's like 12:31, what are we gonna do? And then the weather's cleared because Florida do that. Florida do be doing that. It'd be raining for 25 minutes and then it'd be sunny. There's a double rainbow in the corner, you know the vibes. and we made the fucking most of it, okay? We swam in the water like literally no cares in the world. Like, Holly has a video. This video is like 20 minutes long of us like flailing around the water, like, oh my god, like I couldn't get the full video because all of our phones were like shitting the bed trying to get this like 20-minute video. All of us with no storage, like she's trying to Snapchat it to us, like it's just not happening. But we had so much fun. Like, you don't understand, these girls are my ride or fucking dies, okay? We made the fucking most of it. We were drinking, we were eating the best food, the weather was amazing. The only else so me and Holly flew in together and we didn't have seats next to each other. So I'm like next to a random, totally fine. I pass out for the whole flight. It's like 3 hours. I wake up, we're in Florida. I'm like, word. Emily gets there on a separate flight like an hour after us, so we're just standing in the airport like, and then Morgan's outside like trying to pick us up. We're like, where are you? She's like, where are you? I'm like, I don't know. And then we get all 4 of us and it's great. And then leaving. I've said this before, but I get fucking travel anxiety because I can be a bit of a control freak and like a perfectionist when it comes to traveling. I have my itinerary down, right? I need to be at the airport 2 hours early, right? Literally not even checking a bag. I'm at the airport 2 hours early. I'm like, I need to sit at my gate. This is like why traveling and specifically flying with people, it like shows everyone's true colors, okay? We all know I'm an anxious fucking being, and I am like, ladies, like, we gotta get up and go. Thank you God our flight was delayed, me and Holly, so then we were all on the same flight, the 3 of us. Tell me why our flight was at like, I want to say like 11 or 12. We could not get our asses out of bed because we went to bed so fucking late the night before, and our flight originally was at like 9 in the morning. We would have had to be there at 7, in my brain, be there at 7, leave the hotel, check out by like 6, get there, find our terminal. This is the later flight. I'm like, we're fine. We all have our alarms set for like 8:39. I'm thinking, okay, we're gonna get in the car by 9. We're gonna be at the airport by 9:30. That's perfect, 2 hours before our flight. I'm like packing the night before, right? My girls are packing then and there. Literally, me and my suitcase sweating as I'm watching them like slowly pack up. I'm like, we get to the airport more like 10 and I'm like, we're gonna fucking miss our flight because checked bag going to Florida. Well, you know, we get to the gate with like 30 minutes to spare. I'm like, okay, I can breathe again. And then I was so stressed out that I slept on the whole flight home, because I was like, my anxiety went from here to like a crash, and I was like, good fucking night. Oh god. So that trip was a fucking 11 out of 10 because these girls, we could literally be on a desert island. We'll have fun. Just give us a little bit of alcohol, give us some fucking pasta, the food, bitch. We had ourselves a ball. On to my last trip of 2022, which is so depressing because it was not supposed to be this, but I rest my case. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Yeah. So this was my first solo trip since, God, I want to say since 2019. Flight was kind of, it was like an hour delayed. We're sitting on the flight and they're like, we have to restart the whole boat. We're like, like, we have to restart the whole plane. I'm like, is this a fucking iPhone? We get there, it's snowing. I'm like, tell me how it wasn't snowing in Massachusetts, it's snowing in Pennsylvania. Anyways, I did still make it to my museum time, like with plenty of time to spare, which is exactly why I did it for 12:30 and I knew I was landing around 11. So I had some leeway, right? It was so much fun. I went because I'm a huge Mac Miller fan. Doy. And I wanted to go see his stomping grounds, and it was just such a special trip for me. You saw my vlog if you didn't go see my vlog, but it was a really special trip and I had so much fun. I really like going places by myself. It's really like a reset for me. Overall, that trip was, I'm gonna give it a 9.5 out of 10 once again. The food was so good, and I ended up eating at the same restaurant twice because I was like, this is my go-to now. This pizza's everything. Everything's everything. The antique shops were way out of my price range, but I still shopped. I drank way too much fucking wine, as we all saw. and I had myself a fucking ball. I spent way too much money on Ubers and Lyfts because, don't be me, once again, my hotel motel Holiday Inn was 5-6 miles outside, maybe 10 miles outside of town. So I was like, I'm gonna save money on that. Wrong. I spent that money in Ubers and time. So that's my little lesson. I'm gonna drop it down to a 9 because that's my little lesson, is to not do that. But it didn't ruin my trip at all. Like, I spent the whole day, every time I was downtown, like morning to night, like I was, once it got dark, I was like, Uber, I'm out of here. Shout out the people I met there. They were all sweethearts. Like, my last Uber driver and I, granted I was shit-faced, we were chatting up a storm, and she's like, don't go telling people that it's better than Boston, because it is. I'm like, but it is, and I want to tell people that. So low-key, if you see me moving to Pittsburgh, don't worry about it. And I got a fucking tattoo. Got a little lotus, because duh, I love her. That was hysterical because I show up with my suitcase. They're like, you catching a flight after this? I'm like, yeah, I'm going back home. They're like, oh, you're spontaneous. You wild. I'm like, I needed a tattoo. I had so much fucking fun just by myself. A nice little reset, and I'd go back. I'd love to go back, actually. So that's what I did this year for travels. I really did the damn thing. This is your sign that even you don't have to go far. I went to New Hampshire, I went to Maine, I went to Vermont, and I went to Rhode Island for the day, I went to New York for the day. I had such good day trips around New England. You don't need to go on a flight to go have fun. I mean, obviously my best trip was going to Florida, but it's also because the girlies, you know? It's just the people you're with. So next year I definitely want to get my ass back down to Florida because I love these girls. I love the weather. There's just, I couldn't live in Florida because I'm a liberal, but the vibes just don't really miss. I will definitely be getting my ass back down there next year. Definitely going to New York with Travis to go see Aaron and Madison. That's happening. I'm manifesting this shit, okay? And other than that, I'll probably keep it a little low-key next year because, like I said, we're trying to buy a house, and the house kind of comes first compared to travels that I can do once we get the house. So I'd love to go to New York maybe in the spring, maybe for one of our birthdays, and then probably go to Florida maybe in the fall. That I'm gonna manifest, okay? Thank you so much for watching. I hope this inspired you to go travel this year or this upcoming year. You should put that on your bucket list, on your 2023 goals, because traveling has always been such a thing close to my heart. Ever since I went abroad in college, I just got the bug, the big old bug. Try and make it a priority. Like I said, I've got bigger priorities this year, but it doesn't mean I can't still go places via car for a weekend, save up. You don't have to ball out when you go places. The most I spent anywhere was on food and Pittsburgh Ubers because I didn't drive. Thank God for Morgan in Florida having her car. She was our Uber. Doesn't have to be huge. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the new year. Happy New Year. Happy 2023. I am ready for this year. I need some redemption because last year was a little rough. It was not bad, but it was just a little rough. Okay? Alright. Bye.